Welcome back to the Chessability organization. In today's video, we'll be covering the Jaenisch Gambit. So, the Jaenisch Gambit starts with c4, your opponent as white plays c4, and then you as black responds with b5. So, the point of the Jaenisch Gambit is that if white accepts the pawn, you will immediately offer up another pawn to, once they accept this one as well, gain activity, but only after a few preceding moves that will preparatory moves that will guarantee the success of the position. So, but if we go back a few moves, if they say they defend the pawn, you could of course leave the pawn still up there for grabs, or if they do something like this to take the bishop, of course now you could take, but you could also just leave it hanging and just proceed with the rest of the gambits. But if they, let's say, push, then the best thing I could say would be to play b5 to prevent the knight from moving, or just develop your pieces, obviously. But anyways, back to the main variation. If they take, and then you throw this pawn they take, instead of taking red back, which is the main move, or the obvious move, instead, I believe you should play the move h6. Playing the move h6 provides a very important layer of defense that would not be possible if you immediately took back the pawn. Like, for example, if you took back the pawn, how are you supposed to prevent this attack? It's almost impossible to prevent this fork if you do not play the move h6, because, let's say, for example, you went to go get a drink, or you went to go take a break, and you're playing this long daily chess game, and then your cat just made 6 random moves on the keyboard for you, there would be no way to prevent you from losing the game. But let's say, if we go back a little bit, instead of taking the pawn, let's say you play h6, then that attack, it just never has the same potency as before, because now if they go here, you'll take the pawn, now gaining the pawn and winning a tempo on their pieces. Of course, this makes lots of sense. The knight is forced to go back, but if they don't, let's say they castle, then you'll just do very standard, develop your pieces, get a center pawn in the center. You have many more pieces out. Let's see, it's black to move, and now it's white to move, but black already has 3 pieces out, with just a very active bunch of pieces. Well, even though white is castled, there's just no activity on the queen side, and even though they're up a pawn, it's just really hard to bounce back. And so, it's pretty simple developing after they take the pawn, because just another few tips to mention. If they push the pawn, just take it with the rook. There's not really much to say there. If they, let's say, if they just do anything crazy, just develop your pieces normally. I guess if you don't want to, you don't have to put main pawns in the center. Just try to get castled, and then eventually, when the time has come, you'll know. You will take back the pawn, and then if for example, if the bishop defends and you do this trade, the knight could jump into here and fried liver attack on the queen side, or just rotate around to the king side like such. And that is basically the gist of how to play the Jaenisch Gambit against the white opponents after playing c4. And now I guess I'll show you the games. So for the first game, I just finished this one over here. As on the tab you can see, I just finished playing with Antonio. And so for this game, I had to do a thing where I made the engine play the first move, because like I'm just guessing there's like no humans who actually play c4 on the first move, so it would just be impossible to find one. So I just made the engine play it. I changed the engine so it'd be Antonio playing it, and then the game goes as such. So c4, we play b5 around here. He defends with the bishop, so I take. Then he attacks with the queen, and then as you can see over here, he pins the pawn to my king, so I can't defend with the pawn. So instead I defend with the bishop. He takes, I take, he takes, and then I develop my knight. That he develops his own knight. I play h6 because he could always do like knight f3, knight g5, and fire liver me with the queen, but I don't let him do that. And now, after developing my pieces, he goes there, doubles his pawns for not really a clear reason, and then I just develop my pieces, castle, get my rook out, attack the queen, because this queen is in kind of a box here. After the queen moves there, I go over here to try to annoy him a little bit more. He goes over there, which is a blunder, because after rook to b6, his queen goes up, and then I fork the pieces, winning a piece. And he tries to sack here, and I take, because I wasn't really sure what to do. Because if I just like let it be and try to go over here to win this pawn, he'll just take this pawn, and it's just a downfall from there. I don't necessarily lose the game, but my king's super weak, so I take, keep at least one of these pawns, and then I scratch the idea and just go after this pawn, and he takes that one. But my king's super safe here, it's only the queen. I offer trade queens, and then I get his queen around, offer trade queens, he lets me take his queen, and then I gotta take that pawn because it's defended by the bishop. I trade the rooks, I defend the pawn, or move it out of the way. I just end up taking whatever like I need to take, because trading when you're up material is just always a good thing. I'm up 3 pawns because I'm just up a bishop. So after just shuffling, not really shuffling, after winning a few more of his pawns, defending my bishop, he just he just ends up, like, as you can see here, all these squares are taken. So he has to step back, and then I check with that, like, trying, I actually thought he could take there, but, after I do that, then I take his pawn, and then I end up trying to trade the rooks with him, but he just, and a few moves later, he ends up losing his rook entirely, and then I defend that pawn, his king gets inside some square, and then I go checkmate him with the rook. No, I actually promote. We don't checkmate with rooks around here. I promote a knight, reroute the knight, and then I put the bishop over here because after he moves there, it's forced move. I check the bishop into a mate with the knight. So it's a, I don't know what mate this is, but the 2 Mara piece in a rook mate. It's honestly kind of beautiful, and I mean that game probably demonstrates how to play the opening, I hope. And I can't really do any games anymore because number one, like number one, there's I don't like I said before, I don't really think any humans play c4, and I really don't want to play another engine that like with the Jaenisch thing. And like I think this video is already long enough. So I mean, that's it. I hope you guys learn how to play the Jaenisch Gambit, and like, yeah, go win some games with it.